remember the days when the idea was you could just leave it alone. Nature will take care of itself. Of course, we learned over the years we needed to improve things like fires that were missing, from the landscape and concern about water quality and such. But there's still a sense that nature will take care of itself. And unfortunately, that's not true any longer. I mean, nature is great, but we have these exotic, non-native plants that are just very dominant and will take over if we don't intervene to help. Let's see. So at Rockbridge for about 20 years, volunteers and myself have been working on invasive plant control. For about the last 10 years, we've been able to hire a crew of young people in the summer months. So we've been working on it and keeping ahead of it, or up with it at least. But I do have to communicate that I'm scared about the future. I was thinking of a couple of analogies. One would be if a monster's chasing you and you're running, you're okay as long as you keep running. But if you trip and fall, you're in trouble, right? I know the park that was doing good on garlic mustard control until staff weren't able to work on it for a year, and now they're sort of in trouble on it. So we've got to keep up with it. Another, I like to think of invasive plants as like a cancer diagnosis. It's pretty scary. Let's say you caught it early and the doctor has some treatments for you. You're both optimistic and scared at the same time. That's where I'm at. Let's see. So, but we have had a lot of success at the park. I could take you to many places in the park where I remember, we had bush honeysuckle here, this big around, and we treated it, and now it's either eliminated or maybe a few small ones that we can keep up with. So we're having good success. It just is a matter of having the manpower to keep up with that. Let's see. So I wanted to share with you some of the ecological impacts of not controlling invasive plants, and then also about some of the things we're experiencing at the park with Roxie Pear and what we're doing to manage it. Let's see. Of course, these invasive plants, it's, you might look out there and you see green, it looks all peaceful, but there's actually a lot of competition going on out there between the plants for soil and water and sunlight. And some of our invasive plants are allelopathic. They produce chemicals that inhibit the growth of other plants. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to pass these around. So, you would take the stack and pass it around, please. Always like to have some visual aid. And if you're not sure what you're looking at, there's an explanation on the back for some of them. Let's see. So the allelopathic, for an example, some of them kill fungi in the soil, like mycorrhizal fungi that normally help trees, our natives, absorb more water. So it hurts their ability to absorb water, growth rates get reduced. Who knows what effect that will have on our older established trees. So there's like chemical warfare going on as well. So let's just look at sunlight for a bit, which we're sort of missing today. But sunlight is so important. There's one sheet we're passing that shows, oak trees, wildflowers. Oaks and hickories, they're the main component of our forest. And those trees need a lot of sunlight to establish. Sometimes a seedling will wait around in the forest until another tree falls, and then it's getting sunlight, and it can thrive. Well, Roxie Pear, like bush honeysuckle, many of them invasives, leaf out early in the spring, stay leafed out in the fall, late, and create shade over the forest floor. So then your little oak seedlings will not be able to thrive. And over time, shade-tolerant trees will grow instead. And instead of having oak hickory forest, we'll have sugar maple and so forth. Well, that has its ripple effects. You might be aware that like deer and turkey eat a lot of acorns in the fall. That's important in their diet. And then there's a myriad of insects and so forth My picture has a little oak weevil on there. I think he's cute. But, yeah. Lives his whole life in an acorn, essentially. So, very disruptive then if we should have, not enough sunlight hitting the forest floor for our oaks and hickories. And also wildflowers. Right now we're doing wildflower walks at the park. They're really popular. Many species on the forest floor that leaf out before our natives leaf out. Of course, if invasives take over, they'll be very impacted. Well, how does this affect people enjoying the park? Well, in a lot of ways. You can go there now and look out into the woods and see the trees, see the space. That provides a sense of openness, freedom. It's helpful psychologically. There's been studies to show that. Well, if invasives take over, there's so many stems, it's hard to even walk off the trail. So that would impact, morel hunting, wildflower watching, photography, kids doing orienteering or scavenger hunts or what have you. All those ways we like to enjoy the park would be impacted. So a lot of reasons to protect the park, and of course we're working to do that. Not only at Rockbridge, but throughout our Missouri State Park system, staff have been working on invasive plants for years. And as the threat has grown, this year our director, Ben Ellis, has asked every state park and historic site to develop an invasive management plan and implement that this year. So we're working on it, but we do need some help, volunteers, neighbors, the community, to do what they can as well. Let's see, and speaking to that, what we're finding in Calorie Pear is that it's fairly early in the invasion. One of my pictures is of that invasion grass. If you can get on it early, you'll have a lot more success, take less resources than if you wait. And in, let's say, comparing Calorie Pear and bush honeysuckle, Calorie Pear seems to have a stronger root system. Of course, it also grows to a larger tree. Seems to just really re-sprout a lot. So I think it's going to be a worse problem. It also has thorns, so harder to deal with. I'm seeing Calorie Pear sort of scattered here and there throughout the park, which sort of adds a difficulty because then ideally you'd walk the entire park, to find them. Well, that takes time. Again, that's something volunteers could help with. So, let's see. Some of the areas that are particularly having problems is the karst area. It's a primarily old field or prairie restoration. One of my pictures shows me with Calorie Pear that's like 10 foot tall behind me. That plant grew that in 2 years. And I know that because we burned it 2 years before and you can see the stems that had been killed back. But it re-sprouted and grew to 10 feet, probably because it had re-sprouted several times and it had that kind of root reserve. So again, just showing you how it's more difficult to manage. And for us, fire usually is, that gets rid of our invasive plants. But in this case, we're going to have to do mechanical control too. And going back to my cancer analogy, okay, going in there with the chainsaw and spurting herbicide on the stump, that's the surgery, okay? And right now that's effective since we just have a few here and there. But let's say if we, they got ahead of us, we would have to go to more drastic means perhaps of control. And that's why in many of our, parks or natural areas, herbicide application is necessary. Or one of the things you'll see in the pictures is this spring we had the opportunity to bring in some heavy equipment, literally. A couple of bobcats and construction crew workers from our North District who had some time, and they rented a bullhog attachment for the front, which chews up trees, small trees, which by the way is rather expensive, but anyway, so they used that in about 20 acres of the karst area. for autumn olive as well as Callery pear and cedar. And just imagine how long it would take with a chainsaw to clear 20 acres. And of course, we have a small staff at the park, so these kind of mechanical means are helpful. Let's see. Well, so I just wanted to end with that, as we go forward in the future, I think the park's going to be even more important for people as a place to go for outdoor recreation. There'll be more people needing that. And of course, for wildlife, there's going to be fewer acres for them to grow or live on. So I think people 50 years from now are going to be pretty thankful if we do our part now. Just like 50 years ago, there are people in this community who stepped up to raise money, work hard, to purchase land. Farmers were willing to sell their land to create Rockbridge Memorial State Park. So I sort of feel like we're standing on their shoulders. We have a legacy to continue. That was given to us, but it's up to us to sort of take care of it. So that's my final plea, I guess, for help to control Callery pear, and just just letting you know that Missouri State Parks is doing all we can to manage invasive plants, and it is necessary part of managing any natural area. So I'd like to introduce to you my supervisor and the superintendent of Rockbridge Memorial State Park.